guys, it's Thursday, it's day 9. We only have 2 days left in our learning packet and then you'll be done. Yay. So just like last week though, day 9 is probably one of your heaviest working days, but of course I'm going to help you through it so you'll be fine, okay? So for the reading, once again, you've got your reading log. And then this time we have a story called Connected. We're going to read it together, take notes, annotate, and kind of, process and work our way through the story together, okay? Then for the writing, it says that you're going to review your thesis statement, like look at the reflection questions, and then compose a rough draft of your explanatory article. So let's go ahead and start with this connected story first, and then move on to the writing portion, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and look at the story Connected. I actually really liked the story when I read it the first time. So as we're reading, we're going to highlight any information that we think is important, maybe write down any words that we might not know about. We can use our context clues to figure out what they mean. And then just kind of write some notes on the side to kind of help us process what's going on in the story. So let's go ahead and get started. Joshua was late. At first, his friends were not surprised. Joshua was habitually late. Joshua liked to stay connected to the internet. His friends thought he was too connected. So we have this word here, habitually. And if we look at the beginning, it says he was late. His friends were not surprised. Joshua was habitually late. So if his friends aren't surprised that he's late, it sounds like it's something that he does all the time. So we can infer that the word habitually means does a lot. And if we look at the remainder of this paragraph, it says he likes to stay connected to the internet. So what can we say is the reason why he's always late? Maybe because he's always online. So always online. But it was opening night for the biggest movie of the summer. Joshua should have met them 3 hours ago. So we're kind of like, where's Joshua? So he's missing. Did you hear from him today? Victoria asked. Ibrahim and Mateo shook their heads. She frowned. Something's not right. We need to see what's going on. I know where he could be, Ibrahim said. His computer, they all exclaimed. So because he's always late and they know that he likes to stay connected, they're all assuming that he's at home on his computer, okay? So clues and how we know he's on his computer, always connected. So we can also assume that in the past, maybe reasons why he was late, maybe reasons why he ditched his friends was because he was playing online. Ibram opened the door to Joshua's room and froze. Clothes, food wrappers, and comic books were on the floor. A blue light glowed on Joshua's computer. He wasn't there. So he's still missing. And then his room's kind of a mess. We don't know if that's normal or not. Okay. Start looking, Victoria said. For what? Ibrahim asked. I don't know, Victoria answered, but I think we'll find a clue. Mateo stood behind his friends. Ibrahim searched Joshua's backpack. Victoria checked some notebooks. She saw Mateo's eyes before he glanced up. So we have his friends searching the room. So they're hoping to find some clues as to what happened to Joshua. What's wrong? Aren't you going to help us? Mateo mumbled something but didn't look up. What is it? Ibrahim asked. Mateo answered, a few days ago, Joshua told me he discovered a virus. He said it was different. It could take over any computer. But there was more, Mateo continued. Joshua said the virus could take over anyone. He is going to find out who created it. He asked me not to tell. So this right here is a big doozy. So Joshua found some sort of virus. Now this is starting to take like a crazy twist. Okay, so we're going to put virus, kind of like here an exclamation point so that we know that this one's probably a big clue to what happened to him. Victoria and Ibrahim were shocked. Mateo stepped forward. What about his computer, he asked. Maybe he left something there. Yes, said Victoria. So computer could have a clue. The three friends gathered around the computer. Abraham took the mouse and clicked. They saw white numbers moving across the screen. Soon the digits moved faster. First, they moved diagonally, like rippling water. Then they moved in circles, like a whirlpool. The three friends moved closer to the screen. They couldn't look away. The numbers blurred and 4 words appeared. Enter if you wish. Okay, so something crazy happened with the computer. Okay. Abram pressed enter. They saw a bright flash and had to close their eyes. When they opened their eyes, they were in a long hallway. So, what happened to them? It looks like they might have gotten like sucked into the computer or ended up somewhere different. So, a group was transported. They could see a shape. It was a figure of a man moving toward them. That was an interesting choice, wouldn't you say? The figure said coolly. The words hung in the air like icicles. Victoria spoke first. Who are you? She asked, her voice shivering. We will get to that, and we will get to your friend. But first, you must do something for us. Whoa. So, this guy has got his friends, and he says us. So maybe there's a bigger group that he represents. A bigger group he represents. Also, the kids see a creepy guy. And he has Joshua. So I told you I really like the story. It's really interesting and kind of makes you want to know what happens next, okay? So once we've read the story, you have a page that's got some questions for you, okay? So the first question says, where did the three friends go to find Joshua? Cite evidence from the text to support your answer. So I gave you a sentence starter to get you started with the and how to restate the question and answer it. So it says the three friends go to blank to find Joshua. So if you remember back to the story, they go to one certain place to go find Joshua because he's always online. So chances are they can find him a certain place that was mentioned at the beginning. I think we wrote it down. And if you notice, I said restate an answer because you need to cite evidence. So this means that you are going to be doing evidence-based writing with this one. Okay, so bringing back that evidence-based writing just like last week. If you look at the second question, it says, why do the three friends look at Joshua's computer? Provide evidence from the text that supports your answer. The three friends look at Joshua's computer because blank. So once again, you're going to be doing evidence-based writing. So at the end of this, you're going to have 2 paragraphs. Both of them are going to be evidence-based writing paragraphs. So that means that you need to have your answer, your evidence, your explanation, your elaboration, and where you restate your answer. So that's a total of 5 sentences. Okay, so 5 sentences here, 5 sentences here. If you've forgotten what the evidence-based writing template looks like, I will drop that into the next screen from here, and then you can use that to help answer these 2 questions, okay? All right, so now we're done with that. Let's go ahead and move on to our rough draft. So we are coming back to our thinking map, okay? This is gonna be just like last week, where each column in our thinking map represents a paragraph. So like last week, I'm gonna help you write your first paragraph, just remind you about those elements of evidence-based writing, but you are gonna be responsible for paragraphs number 2 and 3. Don't freak out. You've had plenty of practice. You got this. And then turning something in is better than turning in a blank sheet of paper. Some points are always better than no points, okay? Okay, so let's look at the thinking map that we had started filling out earlier in the week. So I told you I was going to help you with one of your paragraphs. And so I'm going to help you with your first paragraph, which is the green circle. So our subtopic for that paragraph is a digital footprint lasts forever. So that's going to be the very top portion of our evidence-based writing template. As you can see here, we wrote down exactly what was in that green circle at the very top of the template. So now we're going to move on to the evidence portion. So we have to go back into our sources and look for evidence that supports that subtopic. The evidence I selected is, according to the text, children today are more tech savvy than previous generations and have digital footprints at earlier ages. If you notice, I had my sentence starter and then I put my quote inside of those quotes. I opened them and then I closed them. In the middle part of our evidence based writing template is where we explain the who, what, and why. So, in my explanation, I started with another sentence starter and I put, in other words, children develop their digital footprint at a younger age because their parents want to document milestones. So, once again, I answer the who, what, and why about my quote. You're explaining the quote to someone who has never read the article or doesn't understand the article. Now, in the third column is our elaboration, and that's where you explain to the reader how does your quote support that subtopic. So once again, I use a sentence starter and I say, this means that children have an online presence that can follow them as they get older, even if they are not the ones who post it. In your last section is your transition sentence, and that's the one that you're preparing your reader for the next paragraph. I have the frame for you where I started with although, and then it's a blank, comma, also. So I filled that in and I put, although footprints last forever, also they can have negative effects. So I'm preparing my reader for what's going to happen in the next paragraph. And I also reminded them what this paragraph had been about. As a whole, you now have 5 sentences, and this is your first paragraph in your explanatory essay. So, if you want to continue kind of staying organized, you could always take this evidence based writing template and drop it into your major thinking map that we had been working on with each subtopic. And you can drop it in there if you want to stay organized, or you can just keep this very simple piece of paper and just tuck it into your distance learning packet. So if you decide to drop it in, this is what it's going to end up looking like. And so now you are responsible for the next 2 paragraphs, so the next 2 columns. In this next screen, I'm going to show you the evidence-based writing template again, and it also provides you with those sentence frames that you can use to write those paragraphs. Now remember, from here on out, you are responsible for paragraph number 2 and number 3. You can write them on the evidence-based writing template and save it, or you can drop it into this major thinking map so that it gets easier for you, stay a little bit more organized, and you don't have such a jumble of papers. It's completely and totally up to you. Okay, so now that you have all the parts and everything that you need in order to create a completed thinking map, so that tomorrow we can go over the sentence frame for your introduction, the sentence frame for your conclusion, and then how to compose your final draft, okay? So you're done for today. Good luck with writing those 2 paragraphs on your own, but once again, like always, if you need help, shoot me an email, comment on Google Classroom, share Google Doc, whatever works for you. I am here to help, and I'm sure your own teachers are also here to help too, okay? So don't be afraid to reach out. You guys have a great day.